Donald Trump will do that.
And right now it's one of the top priorities in Washington with the new administration.
Absolutely.
Mercedes Schlapp, thank you. Good to see you,
Thank you.
We'll continue with some of these themes. President-elect Donald Trump vowed to crack down on illegal immigrants and take action against so-called sanctuary cities like Chicago. That city's mayor and others around the country with a very defiant message for Mr. Trump. But who has the law on his side?
Be clear about what Chicago is. It always will be a sanctuary city.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need cash? You need to know.
To be clear about what Chicago is, it always will be a sanctuary city. To all those who are, after Tuesday's election, very nervous, there's filled with anxiety has been spoken to, you are safe in Chicago. You are secure in Chicago, and you are supported in Chicago.
Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel doubling down on the city's sanctuary policy. The mayor of San Francisco taking the same stand in the wake of statements from President-elect Trump that he will deport millions of criminals here illegally and cancel federal funding for sanctuary cities across the country. Joining us now for more on this is Greg Jarrett, Fox News anchor and attorney. And also, Greg, Boston, New York, other cities across the country saying the same thing.
Philadelphia, Los Angeles has a huge Hispanic population, San Francisco, and so forth. So it's interesting that the definition of a sanctuary city is very nebulous. It sort of depends on where you are. Some cities adopt themselves as sanctuary cities, but it's just a political statement. They don't do anything to aggressively upset federal law. But other cities, for example, San Francisco, they actively protect undocumented workers, illegal immigrants, and in fact they refuse to turn over low-level criminals to the feds. And when the feds put a hold on a particular suspect, they refuse to hand them over and let the suspect go instead. And of course that appears to have led to the tragic shooting in San Francisco that gained nationwide attention. A guy by the name of Francisco Sanchez. This is a guy who had committed multiple felonies, been deported 5 times, kept coming back to San Francisco because he knew the authorities would protect him there. And that's exactly what they did. The feds put a hold on him. The sheriff ignored the hold, opened the jailhouse door, let the guy go out. He promptly killed Kate Steinle, this beautiful young woman, out on the pier in San Francisco. And this is something that Donald Trump talked about repeatedly on the campaign trail.
And what's so shocking about this is that Congress has not taken up Kate Steinle's law to try and deal with this. And while the cities are doing this at the same time, it's a violation of federal law, is it not?
It's a violation of 2 federal laws.
So how do they get away with it?
20 years ago, 1996, Congress passed a law that specifically bans sanctuary cities. It's called the Immigration Reform Act. There's another act that really has teeth. It's called the Harboring Aliens Act. I'll read it. Any person who, knowing that an alien remains in the U.S. in violation of law, conceals, harbors, or shields that person from detection shall be fined under Title 18, imprisoned not more than 10 years. Now, 10 years is serious stuff. So if a police chief or a sheriff does what this sheriff did in San Francisco, they can be indicted, charged, they can be tried, they can be convicted, and do serious time behind bars. And by the way, in the past, federal courts have upheld sanctuary worker convictions.
Those dealing with churches and others. If they did that, could it be possible that actual local officials could be potentially charged under federal law?
Oh, absolutely. And a great many people, and maybe Donald Trump thinks they should be charged, and it would certainly set an example and give pause to other law enforcement that under the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution, Article 6, you got to follow federal law. You can't pass some local San Francisco ordinance that defies federal law.
What type of action do you think he'll take, and what will happen in the courts?
Well, Donald Trump on the campaign trail has made an absolute vow. He said, those sanctuary cities out there violating federal law, I'm going to withhold federal funds. And here are the kinds of things, for example, in San Francisco. $1 billion that the feds could withhold for transportation, welfare, food stamps, roads and bridges, housing, law enforcement, Medicaid, public safety. You know, Eric, it's really funny how politicians love to stand on their idealistic principles until you take their wallet away from them.
Until the money runs out or is
Right.
cut off. Well, sounds like we're in for quite a battle. We'll see what happens.
Wait and see.
That's great. Good to see you as always.
All right, thanks.
Jenna?
Eric, crowds have been gathering for months in North Dakota to protest construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. They say it threatens water supplies as well.